Olaves Mini Mach 6 video walkthrough. Alright, let's jump right into our first question. Number 1. Gloria is getting ready to send a package, and it will be labeled heavy if it weighs more than 11 pounds and 8 ounces. Now, she has 6 flower pots, and each of those flower pots weighs 1 pound and 12 ounces. On top of that, she also has 5 ounces of packing material. So here's the question. Will her package be labeled heavy? Is it going to be yes, no, maybe, or I don't know? So the options are A, yes, B, no, C, maybe D, I don't know. The correct answer is B. Here's the breakdown. Each pot weighs 1 pound 12 ounces. That's 1 pound plus 12 ounces. If we multiply that by 6, because there are 6 pots, we find the weight of the pots. Then we add 5 ounces for the packing material. When you do all of that, the total weight is still less than 11 pounds 8 ounces. That's why the label will not say heavy. Moving on to question number 2. A packing box is limited to holding 15 pounds. If Jack puts 9 pounds 12 ounces of clothes in the box, how much more weight can the box hold? Is it A, 5 pounds 4 ounces, B, 7 pounds and 4 ounces, C, 5 pounds 8 ounces, or D, 8 pounds 7 ounces? The correct answer is A, 5 pounds 4 ounces. Let's look at why. If we take 15 pounds and subtract 9 pounds 12 ounces from it, that leaves us with 5 pounds 4 ounces. Another way to think about it, 9 pounds 12 ounces is also like 9 3/4 pounds. If you subtract that from 15 pounds, you get 5 1/4 pounds, which is 5 pounds and 4 ounces. Question number 3. Will is unpacking a box of utensils. The whole box weighs 4 pounds, and it has 16 forks inside. What's the weight of each individual fork? Is it A, 2 ounces, B, 8 ounces, C, 4 ounces, or D, 7 ounces? The right answer is C, 4 ounces. Here's how. First, we have to change 4 pounds into ounces. There are 16 ounces in a pound, so 4 pounds equals 64 ounces. Then we divide 64 ounces by the 16 forks, and that tells us each fork weighs 4 ounces. Let's keep going. Question 4. Carrie is moving apartments just down the hall, but she still has to move a lot. She packed 24 boxes, and each of those boxes can hold up to 8 pounds. Now her trolley can only carry 32 pounds each trip. So how many trips will she need if she only has the one trolley? The options are A, 3, B, 2, C, 6, or D, 5. The correct answer is C, 6. Here's why. Each box can weigh 8 pounds. So to find the total weight of all the boxes, we need to multiply 24 boxes by 8 pounds. That's 192 pounds in total. Since the trolley can move 32 pounds each trip, we divide the total weight 192 by 32, and that tells us it will take 6 trips. Alright, question number 5. Hannah ordered some office supplies, and they came in 2 boxes. The big box weighs 8 pounds 7 ounces, and the small box weighs 6 pounds 12 ounces. What is the total weight of both boxes together? Is it A, 11 pounds 3 ounces, B, 15 pounds 3 ounces, C, 15 pounds 7 ounces, or D, 9 pounds 2 ounces? The correct answer here is B, 15 pounds 3 ounces. When you add 8 pounds 7 ounces to 6 pounds 12 ounces, you'll initially get 14 pounds and 19 ounces. But since 16 ounces make a pound, we can convert those 19 ounces into a pound and 3 ounces, bringing our total up to 15 pounds 3 ounces. Question 6. A moving truck has a limit. It can only take up to 4,530 pounds of cargo. Oliver packed 50 boxes, each weighing 34 pounds. About how many more pounds of cargo can still be added to the truck? Is it A, 2,830 pounds, B, 1,200 pounds, or C, 4,250 pounds? The correct answer is A, 2,830 pounds. Let's do the math. If we have 50 boxes and each of those boxes weighs 34 pounds, we have to multiply to find the weight of the boxes in total. The boxes combined weigh 1,700 pounds. We then have to subtract that from the total the truck can carry. If you take 1,700 from 4,530, you get 2,830 pounds. So that is how much cargo can still be added. Moving on, question 7. Now we are getting into ratios. The ratio of tomatoes to red apples is 2 to 5. If there are 20 tomatoes, how many red apples are there? Is it A, 11, B, 50, C, 9, or D, 76? The correct answer is B, 50. Let's break it down. A ratio of 2 to 5 means for every 2 tomatoes, there are 5 red apples. So if you have 20 tomatoes, that's like multiplying 2 by 10. If we multiply 5 by 10 as well, we can find the number of red apples, which is 50. Question number 8. The ratio of berries to oranges is 10 to 1. If there are 25 oranges, how many berries are there? Is it A, 250, B, 120, C, 76, or D, 88? The correct answer is A, 250. A 10 to 1 ratio means that for every single orange, there are 10 berries. So if there are 25 oranges, you would multiply that by 10 to find the number of berries, which is 250. Let's go to question 9. The ratio of potatoes to turnips is 1 to 1. If there are 473 potatoes, how many turnips are there? Is it A, 231, B, 328, C, 473, or D, 525? The correct answer here is C, 473. A 1-to-1 ratio is very simple. It means that there is the same number of both. So if there are 473 potatoes, there must also be 473 turnips. Question number 10. The ratio of pears to green apples is 1 to 3. If there are 150 green apples, how many pears are there? Is it A, 79, B, 21, C, 50, or D, 65? The correct answer is C, 50. A 1 to 3 ratio means there's 1 pear for every 3 apples. If you have 150 apples, you can divide that by 3 to find the number of pears, which is 50. We're almost done. Question 11. The ratio of bananas to melons is 30 to 1. If there are 300 bananas, how many melons are there? Okay, so question 11, let's take a look. It says, the ratio of bananas to melons is 30 to 1. Now what this means is that for every 30 bananas, we have just 1 melon. If we have a big pile of 300 bananas, the question is, how many melons do we have? And we have some choices. A, 12, B, 26, C, 10, or D, 80. The answer is C, 10. Now let's see why. If 30 bananas equals 1 melon, and we have 300 bananas, which is 10 times bigger than 30, then we must have 10 times 1 melon. So we have 10 melons. All right, let's move to question 12. It says the ratio of blueberries to strawberries is 1 to 7. This means for every 1 blueberry, there are 7 strawberries. Now, if we have 210 strawberries, how many blueberries do we have? Our options are A, 15, B, 30, C, 22, and D, 7. The answer is B, 30. So if 7 strawberries equals 1 blueberry, then 210 strawberries is the same as 7 times 30, so we must have 30 blueberries. Okay, question 13. We have a pie chart, and it's about Ralph's book collection. The question asks, which books are equally collected by Ralph? And our choices are A, story and mystery, or B, poetry and comic. The correct answer is A, story and mystery. If we look at the pie chart, the storybooks take up 1/6 of the circle, and the mystery books also take up 1/6 of the circle. This means that they both have the same amount collected. All right, question 14. It asks, what fraction of the collection are comic books? Are they A, 1/6, B, 2/3, C, 1/5, or D, 8/13? The answer is A, 1/6. According to the pie chart, the comic books take up exactly 1/6 of the circle, which is 1/6 of the collection. Finally, question 15. It asks, which books did he collect the most of? Is it A, arts, B, poetry, C, story, or D, comic? The correct answer is B, poetry. The pie chart shows that the poetry books take up 1/3 of the circle. 1/3 is bigger than 1/6, 1/5, or 1/10, so that means he has the most poetry books.
So now I'm going to be going through the answers to the MVR section of this mini mock. So the first few questions in this section are these net and cube questions. And the method for doing these is this acronym MORE. Yeah. So what each letter MORE means, so the match, what that means is make sure that the patterns or shapes in the net match up with the ones in the cube. So for example, if option A here had a question mark, we would be able to rule out option A because there's no question mark in the net. That's what match means. What opposite means is any squares in the net that are one space apart. So this G is one square apart from the 5. So the G and the 5 will end up being opposite each other in the cube. So that's what opposite means. Rotation. What rotation means is just be careful to remember that when you fold the net into a cube, that the patterns or the shapes or the letters or numbers may appear upside down or sideways. So don't let that confuse you. And then what edge means, that means that if two of the squares in the net, the edge that they are lined up on, that's how they'll be lined up in the cube. So what I mean by that is, you see how this circle bit of the division sign is in the same edge as the straight bit of the 5. So that's how this should also appear in the cube. So that's what edge means. So the answer to this first question is A. As you can see, the 5 and 6, they're next to each other. And they're next to each other here in the net as well. And then we've got this white square here. So that's ended up being next to the 5, because when you fold that down around, let's say, this division sign, the 5 and the white one will end up being next to each other, and the 6 will also be next to the 5. So that's why the answer is A. Next question. So in this one, so here we've got to find out the net that makes this cube here. So let's focus on the opposite bit here. So here, the grey, black and white square with the black circle in should not be one square apart. So in A, they're not one square apart, so let's come back to that one. In B, the black is one square apart from the grey one. If that was the case, if that was the cube, then they would end up being opposite each other in the cube. As you can see in the cube, they're not opposite each other, they're next to each other. So we can eliminate option B. Here, the grey and the black are, again, one square apart. So they would end up being opposite each other, not next to each other as they are here. So we can eliminate option C. Again, the grey and the black are one square apart when they shouldn't be because they're next to each other in the cube. And here, the black square and the white one with the black circle are one square apart when they shouldn't be because they're next to each other. So we can eliminate option E. So here the answer is A. As you can see, they're not one square apart. They're next to each other. So that's fine. Next question. So question 18. So here, let's do the same thing again. So here, these three sides of the cube should not be one square apart. This one and this one are one square apart, which, if that were the case, then they would be opposite each other in the cube. They're not opposite each other in the cube, they're next to each other, so we can eliminate option A. In B, they're not one square apart, so that looks fine. We'll come back to B. In C, this one and this one are one square apart when they shouldn't be, because they're next to each other. So we can eliminate C. Again, they're one square apart, so we can eliminate D. If they're one square apart, they would appear opposite each other. Here, they are next to each other. Opposite each other would mean they'd be on the other side here, which you can't see. So, and then E, in E, E also looks fine. So now we've got to decide between C and E for, sorry, B and E for question 18. So the answer here is B. The reason why it's B is because when you, in E, as you can see, the line would end up being in between this circle and the 4 dots one. In this cube, it's not going through it like that. It's going in the opposite direction, which is the case here. It's going away. It's not going through it as it would be if you folded E into a cube. So that's why B is the correct answer. Question 19. So again, I think the opposite step of more is the one to focus on for these. So these three should not be one square apart from each other in any of the nets. So here, so in A it looks fine, so we can come back to that one. In B, we can eliminate B because the circle lines up with this long side of the A. In the answer option, that top bit of the A lines up with the circle, not this side of the A. So we can eliminate B here. That's focusing on the edge side of the more rule. That's also why, going back, we can eliminate A, because that edge lines up with the circle when it should be the short top edge of the A. Then we can also eliminate C, because when you fold C, this short edge would be lined up with the square here, when it should be this long edge should be lined up with it. As you can see, the long edge of the A lines up with the square. And D, again, we can eliminate D because the long edge here is on the same side as the circle when it shouldn't be. The top of the A and the circle should be on one edge, not the side of the A. So the answer has got to be E for this one. Question 20. So here, I think we should focus on the edge rule again. So we can eliminate option A because, as you can see, the bottom of the P lines up with the circle of the divide, when here the curved bit of the P lines up with the circle of the divide. So we know the answer is not A. In B looks like it might be fine, so we'll come back to that one. Then on to C. We can eliminate C because here the curved side and the straight edge of the B are on one edge, when the tail of the P and the top of the B should be on one edge. Again, we can eliminate D for that reason, because the top of the P and the bottom of the B are lined up here when it should be the opposite way around. And we can eliminate E because the curved edge of the P and the straight edge of the B are lined up when it should be the bottom of the P and the top of the B. So that's why the answer is B. As you can see, the bottom of the P and the top of the B are on one edge here. Question 21. So here, So here we can eliminate A because here the straight edge of the triangle and the circle are lined up when it should be that top point of the triangle and the circle that are lined up. We can also eliminate B because when you fold this one up, this triangle and the square would end up being opposite each other if you fold it around that circle. They would end up being opposite each other because this triangle would end up being there and that square would be there. So we can eliminate B. Here, so C looks like it could be fine. So let's come back to that one. D, these two are one square apart. That would mean they're opposite each other. In the cube, they're not opposite each other, they're next to each other, so we can eliminate D. And here, this circle and the square are one square apart from each other, meaning they would be opposite each other. They're not in the cube, they're not opposite each other, they're next to each other, so we can eliminate E. So we know that the answer has got to be C. Now on to these next questions. So you've got to see what it would look like if you're looking at it from this angle. So we know it's going to be 3 squares long, like that, and then 1 square on top, like that. So the answer is A. Not B because we don't have 2 squares at the top. Not C, again, we don't have 2 squares at the top and they're not in the right position. Not D because the 1 square at the top should be here. And not E because we don't have 3 layers of squares, we only have 2 layers. So the answer is A. Question 23, we're going to be seeing just a rectangle. So the answer is A because we just see that rectangle like that. We don't see any of these bits that are sticking up or out. Question 24, we're going to see 2 circles like that, joined together horizontally. So the answer is B. Not A because we will be seeing 2, not 1. Not D because they're not inside each other on top of each other like that. And not E because they're not overlapping. As you can see here, they don't overlap each other. They're just next to each other. Not C because this is looking at it. This would be looking at it vertically when they're horizontal. Question 25, we're going to be seeing pentagon. So the answer is C. We're seeing this pentagon here. Question 26, we're going to see rectangle like that and another rectangle on top of it. So the answer here is B. We're going to be seeing these 2 rectangles. Now on to these questions. So here, so this is like the middle, this diamond shape. And as you can see, we're going to have this grey, and then this blue would be next to each other. And then this. So these bits, these dots in pink would be the ones touching this black hexagon in the middle. And they'd be next to each other how they are right now. So the one that matches up with that is B. So we've got this blue, this darker blue, which is that bit there. Then we've got this grey bit, which is this grey bit here. Then we've got this grey bit here, which is this grey bit here. So as you can see, that matches up. So you've just got to look at which colours would be next to each other when you fold it. Now to these questions. These questions are a little bit harder. So for this one, question 28, the answer here is C. So the reason why it's not A, as you can see here, we've got this diagonal line. In this plan, we don't have any diagonal lines, so we know it can't be A. Then I'm also going to eliminate option B. The reason why I'm going to eliminate option B is because, as you can see, we have this really thin rectangle piece. In here, we don't have anything really thin. You could say that these sort of rectangles are thin, but they're not as thin and long as this would be. And when these sort of thin rectangles are next to each other, I assume that they would be the bits that fold inwards like that. Not this part here, which would be thinner and longer. So that's why I'm eliminating option B. And then I'm also eliminating option D because, so, like I said, when these three sort of rectangles are next to each other, I'm assuming that's this folded in bit here. So that's one side, which would be one side here, and then this bit at the back here would be this yellow bit, and then there'd be two sides next to the yellow bit, which is these two pink bits here. And as you can see, the rectangles that are next to it, I'm going to do that in blue, they are the equal size. Same here, they're equally sized. So the rest of C and D are quite similar shapes, but as you can see here, this square here, or rectangle, is bigger than this one. This one is thinner, whereas they should be equal sizes. So that's why I've eliminated D, and the answer is C. Now to this one. The answer here is A. The reason why it's A, so we've got this H shape. That's this bit here. And these squares are these bits here. And then we've got these pentagon sort of shapes. They are these bits here. We've got two of them. And then those those thinner rectangles in the middle are the bits where it's folded inwards. In this yellow bit here, that's the folds inwards. So that's why the answer is A. Even though B does look quite similar, I've not said it's B. As you can see, in B, we've got these rectangles that are on top instead of the pentagons with the triangle. Here we've just got a flat pentagon, not a triangle on top of a rectangle. That's why it's not C either, because that also has the rectangle with this shape on top. And then D has these extra folds which are not present in the plan. Now onto this question. So the answer here is D. The reason why it's D is because, so this L bit, I'm assuming, is this L bit here. And then this bit here is this bit here, this bit. So that folds upwards to form this bit, and then into this shape, which is this part here. So it all folds up like that to form this shape. So that's why I think the answer is D. Because as you can see, we've formed this sort of like L shape, which is this top part here. And it would fold in this way. So not C, because that's folded the wrong way. and also because it has this part that sticks out when it should just be an L sort of shape that goes up like that, not more of a T shape, which this is, so that's why it's not C. And it's not B because we don't have this part present. This part here will just fold to form the 3D bit of this L here. So that's why it's not B, and that's why it's not A either. Because we just have this L shape. We don't have this sort of R looking shape, or this like rotated L shape. This part here just forms the 3D version of the L shape. So that's why the answer here is D. And that's it.
Question 31. We need to find the one letter that fits into the blank space, so it completes the word before the brackets and starts the word after the brackets. Our words are T blank ache and Santa blank end. The options are A, M, B, R, C, N, or D, T. The correct answer is B, R. Okay, let's see why. If we put the letter R into the first set of words, we get tear and rake. Both of those are real words, right? Now, if we put the letter R into the second set of words, we get star and rind. Those are also both real words. The other letters don't work because they don't make two real words in both sets of words. Question 32. Okay, next up is question 32. Again, we need to find the one letter that will complete the word in front of the brackets and begin the word after the brackets. The words are pas blank old and spen blank rust. Our choices are A, L, B, P, C, J, or D, T. The correct answer is D, T. Let's look at why. If we put the letter T in the first set of words, we get past and told. Those are both real words that we know. If we add the letter T to the second set of words, we get spent and trust, which again are both real words. The other letters don't work here because they don't create two correct words. Question 33. For question 33, let's find the one letter that will complete the word in front of the brackets and begin the word after the brackets. The words are fi blank os and psi blank ent. The options are A, S, B, R, C, V, or D, D. The correct answer is D, D. Let's find out why. If we add the letter D to the first set of words, we get feed and dose. Yes, those are both real words. If we add the letter D to the second set of words, we get sed and dent, which are also both real words. The other letters will not form two correct words. Question 34. Moving on to question 34, we need to find the one letter that completes the word in front of the brackets and begins the word after the brackets. The words are blin blank, I-T-E, and tall blank, E-P-T. Our choices are A, N, B, A, C, K, or D, T. The correct answer is C, K. Okay, let's see why. If we add the letter K to the first set of words, we get blink and kite. Those are both words we use, right? If we add the letter K to the second set of words, we get talk and kept. Those are real words too. The other letters just don't work because they don't create two real words in each set. Question 35. All right, question 35. We're still looking for the one letter that will complete the word before the brackets and begin the word after the brackets. The words are GLU blank aster and try blank out. Our options are A, M, B, S, C, C, or D, U. The correct answer is A, M. Okay, let's see how this works. If we add the letter M to the first set of words, we get glum and master. Yes, those are real words. If we add the letter M to the second set of words, we get trim and mount. Again, both real words. The other letters won't work. They don't make real words when we add them. Question 36. Let's look at question 36. Find the one letter to complete the word in front of the brackets and begin the word after the brackets. The words are bra blank eep and gri blank I-G-I-T. Our choices are A, Q, B, A, C, D, or D, E. The correct answer is C, D. Let's find out why. If we put the letter D into the first set of words, we get bread and deep, both real words. If we add the letter D to the second set of words, we get greed and digit, again, both real words. The other letters do not form two correct words. Question 37. All right, question 37. This one's a bit different. We need to find the four-letter hidden word in the sentence. The sentence is, the twins are about to enter. Our choices are A, fire, B, area, C, stare, or D, care. The correct answer is B, area. If you look really carefully, you can see the word area hiding between the words are and about. See it? Question 38. Okay, let's move on to question 38. We're still looking for a hidden four-letter word in the sentence. The sentence is, the town's defenders were local soldiers. Our options are A, cool, B, also, C, pole, or D, soul. The correct answer is B, also. Did you see the word also hiding between the words local and soldiers? It was right there if you looked carefully. Question 39. And finally, question 39. Let's find the hidden four-letter word in the sentence, pains affect marathon runners' tired bodies. The choices are A, stir, B, elbow, C, end, or D, scene. The correct answer is A, stir. If we look closely, the word stir is hidden between the words runners and tired. Question 40. Okay, class, our first question is number 4 for a lady. It says, find the four-letter hidden word in the sentence. The tube station was under the ground. The options are A, stick, B, thin, C, life, or D, best. Now, the correct answer here is D, best. Let's look at the sentence closely. The tube Santa station was under the ground. See how the word best is hidden right there, between the words tube and station? That's like a little word puzzle. Question 41. All right, next up is question 41. It reads, find the four-letter hidden word in the sentence. This leopard can run very quickly. Our options are A, jail, B, fail, C, aisle, or D, pow. The correct answer is C, aisle. Look closely at the sentence again. This leopard can run very quickly. The word aisle is hidden in the middle of the words this and leopard. Did you see it? Question 42. Okay, let's move on to question 42. It asks us to find the four-letter hidden word in the sentence. Rain fell very early next morning. Our options are A, day, B, said, C, stay, or D, year. The right answer here is D, year. Let's take a good look at the sentence. Rain fell very early next morning. The word year appears between the words very and early. Pretty cool how words can hide in plain sight, right? Question 43. All right, let's shift gears a bit. Question 43 is a math problem. It asks us to solve the equation to find the missing number. The equation is 120 divided by 3 minus 11 equals 17 plus 41 plus blank. The options are A, 24, B, 45, C, 16, or D, 29. The correct answer is D, 29. Let's break this down step by step. First, we solve the left side of the equation. 120 divided by 3 equals 40. Then, we subtract 11 from 40, which gives us 29. Now let's solve the right side. 17 plus 41 equals 58. To find the missing number, we subtract 29 from 58. 58 minus 29 equals 29. So the missing number is indeed 29. Question 44. Okay, on to question 44, another equation. It says, solve the equation to find the missing number. The equation is 5 times 7 plus 23 equals 3 times 9 plus blank. Our options are A, 31, B, 37, C, 28, or D, 89. The correct answer is A, 31. Let's solve it together. First, we'll solve the left side. 5 times 7 is 35. Then add 23 to 35, which equals 58. Now let's move to the right side. 3 times 9 is 27. To find the missing number, we need to subtract 27 from 58. 58 minus 27 equals 31. So 31 is the missing number. Question 45. Okay, let's tackle question 45. It states, solve the equation to find the missing number. The equation is 81 divided by 9 times 7 equals 17 times 3 plus blank. The options are A, 12, B, 7, C, 17, or D, 27. The right answer is A, 12. Let's take it step by step. First, solve the left-hand side. 81 divided by 9 is 9, and 9 times 7 equals 63. Now let's solve the right side. 17 times 3 is 51. To find the missing number, we subtract 51 from 63. 63 minus 51 equals 12. Therefore, the missing number is 12. Question 46. All right, let's change gears again and look at some reading comprehension questions. Question 46 asks, based on the passage, what can be inferred about the author's view on borders? A. The author sees borders as arbitrary and unnecessary limitations. B. The author believes that borders have hindered human progress and unity. C. The author finds borders fascinating and appreciates their historical significance. D. The author sees borders as natural and essential for maintaining order. The correct answer is C. The author finds borders fascinating and appreciates their historical significance. The explanation tells us the author enjoys studying how borders have evolved, not that they are unnecessary or essential for maintaining order. So A, B, and D are incorrect. Question 47. Question 47 asks, what is the author's main argument for the importance of maps in understanding the world? A. Maps provide a visual representation of human history and interactions. B. Maps offer a way to explore places without physically traveling to them. C. Maps show the relative scarcity of resources and space on the globe. D. Maps illustrate how technology has overcome natural barriers. The correct answer is A. Maps provide a visual representation of human history and interactions. The passage emphasizes how maps help us understand the past, not virtual travel, the scarcity of resources, or technology's role in overcoming natural barriers. So options B, C, and D are incorrect. Question 48. Let's move on to question 48. Based on the passage, what motivated man to create borders and conquer spaces? A. A desire for power and dominance over other groups. B. A need to navigate and explore new territories. C. The belief that borders are necessary for organizing society. D. An urge to challenge and overcome natural obstacles. The right answer is B. A need to navigate and explore new territories. The passage focuses on how humans explore and define spaces. While some conquests were about power and borders can organize society, this is not the main focus. So options A, C, and D are incorrect. Question 49. Okay, last question, number 49. The author mentions skyscrapers and towers of steel and concrete to highlight what concept? A. Man's ability to conquer natural boundaries and limitations. B. The development of modern architectural innovations. C. The transformation of densely populated areas into urban landscapes. D. The role of technology in creating new borders and spaces. The correct answer is A. Man's ability to conquer natural boundaries and limitations. The passage uses skyscrapers as an example of how we overcome space limitations, not to discuss their design, urbanization, or the creation of new borders. So options B, C, and D are incorrect. So first, we have question 50. It asks, what can be inferred about the author's interest in maps and geography? Now, there are 4 options to pick from. Option A says that the author loves to travel to new places to explore them in person. Option B says the author thinks maps are a better way to understand the world than personal experiences. Option C suggests that the author actually likes studying rocks and geology more than maps and geography. And finally, option D states that the author sees maps as a way to show how humans interact with each other and how things have changed over time. The correct answer here is D, which is, the author sees maps as a tool to showcase human interactions and historical developments. Now, why is that the correct answer? Well, the explanation tells us that the author uses maps to see how different countries have interacted, which cultures were in charge of certain areas, and how borders have changed over the years. So it's all about those human stories and how they've unfolded across time, which we can see through the use of maps. Option A is incorrect, because the author actually says that maps are a better way to understand the world than traveling around. Option B is close, but it doesn't quite capture the idea that the author is interested in history and human interactions. And finally, option C is wrong, because while they compare their interest in maps to a geologist's interest in minerals, they are not prioritizing geology over maps. All right, let's move on to question 51. This time we're asking, based on the passage, what historical insight can be gained from studying the names of places on a map? So option A says that the names tell us which groups or countries were dominant in different areas. Option B suggests the names show us where to find natural resources and landmarks. Option C says the names indicate the progress of technology and engineering achievements. And option D is about how geographical boundaries and laws have changed over time. The correct answer is A. This is because the passage tells us that place names like New York, Los Angeles, and Monrovia show us which countries or cultures had the most influence in those regions. This helps us to understand which groups were dominant at different points in history. Option B is not correct, as the passage doesn't focus on natural resources. Option C isn't correct either, as it talks about history, not engineering. And finally, option D isn't correct, because the passage doesn't focus on changing laws, but rather on cultural influence. Okay, question 52 asks, what can be inferred about the author's fascination with borders and limitations? Option A says that the author thinks borders show human progress. Option B says the author thinks borders are artificial and get in the way of human potential. Option C suggests the author is interested in how borders have changed over time. And finally, option D states the author enjoys exploring the challenges and possibilities that borders create. The correct answer is D, that the author finds joy in exploring the challenges and opportunities posed by borders. The explanation points out that the author enjoys studying borders and how they change. The author doesn't see borders as bad or restrictive, so option B is incorrect. Option A is incorrect because the author focuses more on history, and not that borders are a sign of progress. Option C is close, but it doesn't fully capture how much the author enjoys the topic. Now, for question 53. According to the passage, what historical significance does the name Monrovia hold for Liberia? Option A says it connects Liberia to ancient Greek history and Alexander the Great. Option B says it shows how Liberia interacted with American influences. Option C is about the dominance of a specific ethnic group in Liberia. And finally, option D suggests that it's because of historical conflicts with nearby regions. The correct answer is B, and it reflects Liberia's history of interactions with American influences. This is because the passage mentions that Monrovia was named after James Monroe, who was an American president. So this clearly points to American influence. Option A is incorrect because there's no connection to ancient Greece. Option C is wrong because the passage does not mention ethnic groups. And finally, option D is wrong as there isn't any mention of conflict in the passage. Moving on to question 54. What can be inferred about the author's perception of the modern concept of space? Option A suggests the author believes that modern technology has made space irrelevant. Option B says the author sees skyscrapers as a way to overcome the physical limits of space. Option C says the author thinks space is an outdated concept because of technology. And lastly, option D is about the modern generation having a more expansive perception of space. The correct answer is B, which means the author sees skyscrapers as a metaphor for conquering the physical limits of space. The passage discusses how skyscrapers help humans overcome space limits, like how bridges help us cross rivers. So it's all about overcoming limitations. Option A isn't correct because the author does not think space is irrelevant. Option C is wrong because they do not say space is outdated. And finally, option D isn't correct as it doesn't compare different generations. Okay, and finally we have question 55. How does the author view the process of packing up a person's entire life, as mentioned in the first sentence? Option A suggests the author thinks it's emotionally challenging and burdensome. Option B says it's an opportunity to learn about the person's history and possessions. Option C says the author thinks it's a meaningless and trivial thing to do. And finally, option D is about it being a natural part of life and human history. The correct answer is B, which means the author sees it as an opportunity to learn about the person's history and possessions. The passage suggests the author likes packing up belongings because it's a way to learn about the past, and they enjoy studying history through objects, just like they enjoy learning it through maps. Option A is wrong because the author doesn't talk about it being emotionally difficult. Option C isn't correct because they don't see it as trivial, but something valuable. And finally, option D is incorrect because even though it's a natural process, the author is more focused on learning from the objects. Alright, that's all the questions, and we took our time to understand each one.